ask for your protection. God, for every single citizen within my voice right now, God, and also the citizens within Monte Vista. God, if you can help them and give them the wisdom and the understanding, God, to make the right decisions, to make the provisions, God, to do anything in their power to do, Lord, to stay safe. God, we ask that you will give them that opportunity to stay safe. We ask for all the people out there that are infected with the virus, God, we ask that you will be with them and that you will comfort them and give them peace, God, and that you will help to protect them, Lord, body and soul. God, we ask for wisdom during this evening, during this meeting, and we thank you. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Nita, you want to do roll call?
Counselor Johnson?
Here.
Counselor Foster?
Presently here, but not currently there.
Counselor Segala?
Here.
Counselor Locke?
I'm here.
Mayor Becker?
I'm here.
Quorum is declared.
Thanks, Larry. Are there any modifications to the agenda? No. Okay, approval of consent agenda for minutes of the regular meeting, March 5th, 2020, and review and approval of accounts payable.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Foster?
Aye.
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Segala?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, proclamations, communications, and appointments. Review of 1 cent oversight committee letters of interest. Were those attached to the packet, Nita?
Yes, they were.
Sorry, I didn't get that far. Okay. So we got Kathy Ellithorpe, District 2. Krieger, District 2.
Dale, would you like me
Yes.
to share my screen so everybody can see the letters?
Sure, if you want to do that, that would be fine.
Can everybody see?
Yep.
Yeah, we can see it.
So you have District 2, you have Kathleen Ellithorpe.
Okay.
District 2, you have Kathleen Krager. District 2, you have Matt Hurst. District 3 is Ken Hamko. District 4 is Kathy Lorenz. And District 5 is Jose Zamora. And District 5 is Deborah Darby. And then you have one at large for Carla Shriver. The only district that's not covered is District 1, and we need one more at large.
Is the deadline for submission of letters already passed?
They were supposed to be due at the end of February, or January, sorry.
Okay. Thank
Can you
you.
remind me what District 1 is again?
So District 1 is over by City Hall. And if you look, can you
Okay.
see the map?
Mm-hmm.
What's our procedure for the missing district?
I'm sorry, Gary?
What is our procedure for the missing districts?
We can send this back out to the paper if you would all like and ask for anybody in that group. And another at-large for Forrest. Do you have any input on that?
Well, I'm looking at the district applications you have, and you've got a couple districts that have more than one person. So you could pick one of those other people that applied for a district, perhaps as an at-large. You don't have to do that, but you could. And you probably do want to put District 1 back out there. That's Lariat, and then west of Broadway. I'm sorry, I messed that up. So yeah, it's basically that west side, you can see in the map. So we could put it back out for that district, and you can pick it at large from any of the other applicants once you've filled the districts you have.
Can we also do that for districts where there's only one applicant?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we want one applicant from each district and then pick an at-large out of all that, what's left of the applicants? Is that what you said, Forrest?
Yeah, you have one at-large applicant, I believe, and then you have one other at-large that's open. So you have two at-large, right, Nita?
Yes, there should be two.
Right. So you have one at-large applicant. You could pick out of the other districts that have more than one applicant. You could pick one of those as an at-large, and then we just need to find somebody for District 1.
Whoa.
That's nice. Larry.
So the structure of the committee is that there's one representative from each district and two at-larges. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
You could do that by ballot somehow, just to at least move on to the next step.
Yeah, so normally,
If we agree on the process, what Forrest outlined sounded pretty sensible.
and where you have multiple applicants for a single district, then one of the council members could nominate that applicant. You get a second, then you have the opportunity to vote for that applicant.
For
The at-large vacant spot, correct? Okay, so there's
Got 3 from District 2, right?
That's correct.
And 2 from District 5.
So Mayor, maybe you guys want to start with District 2?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. So we'll go with District 2. So you have Matt Hurst, Kathleen Krager, and Kathy Ellithorpe.
I'd nominate Matt Hurst, start things off.
Does that have to be a motion?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I move to nominate Matt Hurst for the representative from.
And
Doesn't
I would
sound like
second
anybody
that.
knows. Doesn't sound like anybody knows Matt.
No, I would second that so we can take that into discussion.
Okay.
Okay, Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to pick Matt Hurst from District 2.
He's the guy I've known for the last 7 years since I've been out here, and been after him on occasion to get involved because he's always talking about his interest in the community. So yeah, maybe this is, I'm surprised to see him. I'm glad that he's actually made an effort. I don't know if anybody else knows him. Michael Hurst is probably a little more recognizable name. He's been Monte for a long time, and his family. Michael is the president of Del Norte Bank, and then Matt is his son. So, like I said, didn't realize he was running, but he's a good man.
And I apologize, Nita. I guess I wasn't totally for sure about the motion. This is a motion to put this person in over the overseer office for that.
I'm not sure who has all the feedback. Having some troubles. Yes, Victor, the motion was made by Councilor Johnson to nominate Matt Hurst to represent District 2.
Okay, so you represent the district, not the overall okay.
John, could you mute your background? I believe we're getting noise from you. Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to appoint Matt Hurst for District 2 representative. We've had discussion. Is there any more discussion? So let's vote on, Nita, let's go ahead and vote on that.
Okay, the motion is to nominate Matt Hurst to represent District 2 for the 1 cent Oversight Committee. Councilor Foster? Councilor Foster?
There we go. Sorry, I had muted myself when it was getting weird. Aye.
Councilor Locke?
Nay.
Councilor Johnson? Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Councilor Segola?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Oh, sorry.
Nita, I lost part of that. Who's aye and who's nay?
Okay, so I have
I'm
Councilor
nay.
Johnson, aye. Councilor Foster, aye. Councilor Segola, aye. Councilor Locke, no. Mayor Becker?
Aye.
So the motion carries to nominate Matt Hurst to represent District 2.
Okay, and while we're still on the ones from District 2, I know I can't nominate anybody, but we got an at-large position that I feel could be that we need to look at real quick while we're in that. And we got 2 Kathleen's in there, but I've got my opinion, and my opinion doesn't count when we talk about this, but my opinion would be Kathy Ellithorpe is our at large. So I guess we can think about that if you want. We'll come back to that. District 3, we just had one, and that is Mr. Hamco. So I would say that's just putting in, correct?
Correct.
So I would move on motion. Do we need to go? Should we go and do that right away?
Yes, please.
Okay. I would motion to have a Ken Hamco as an oversight committee for District 3.
I second that.
And moved and seconded to have Ken Hamco represent District 3 and Oversight Committee. Is there any more discussion? Nita,
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
aye.
Motion carries to appoint Kim Hamco to represent District 3.
Okay, District 4, Kathy Lorenz. We need a motion for, she was the only one for correct? Yes.
Correct.
I move to appoint Kathy Lorenz to District 4 for the Oversight Committee.
Would second that.
Been moved and seconded to appoint Kathy Lorenz to the Oversight Committee for the 1 cent tax. Any more discussion? Nita,
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Segala, Counselor Segala,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to appoint Kathy Lorenz to represent District 4,
hey,
sorry.
Nita,
Yes, sir.
I'll officially say aye. Somebody else kept saying it, so it's official.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, District 5, we have 2 applicants. Deborah Darby and Jose is that Zamora?
That is correct.
I would move that Deborah Darby be nominated for District 5. She appears to have more qualifications.
Not familiar with either.
We need a second on that.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to appoint Deborah Darby out of District 5 to the 1 cent Oversight Committee. Any more discussion? Nita,
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Segala, Counselor Segala,
But Coke Victor there.
Counselor
Sorry.
Segala,
Aye.
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
aye.
Motion carries to appoint Deborah Darby to District 5 representative.
Okay, now we need to fill the at-large position, right?
It's hot.
I nominate Kathy Ellithorpe for the at-large position for the Oversight.
Second that.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Kathy Ellithorpe as the at-large position for the 1 cent Oversight Committee. Is there any more discussion? Unita,
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Counselor Segala,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
aye.
Motion carries to appoint Kathy Ellithorpe as an at-large representative for the 1 site Oversight Committee.
Site Oversight. Okay.
Yeah. 1 cent Oversight's really hard to say.
Apparently. I'm not saying it.
Who's the representative from the council? Was that me that said I'd do it?
I don't think any of you have agreed to do that or have appointed yourselves to do that.
Well,
Did
I'll
we want
appoint
to handle
myself.
the, sorry, Mayor, did we want to handle the second at large?
I'm sorry, Forrest?
Did we want to handle the second at large vacancy?
They appointed Kathleen Ellithorpe.
But we have not, we've only done one of the at-larges. We have not done both of them.
Oh, that is correct. Sorry.
Oh,
Shriver is the other one who applied for it.
I would move to appoint Carla Shriver to the at-large 1 cent oversight committee.
Second.
been moved and seconded to appoint Carla Shriver as the other outlaw as the other at large position for the 1 cent oversight committee.
Very good, yeah.
Any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Counselor Segala, Counselor Segala,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Aye. You got an answer for me, Mark?
and Counselor Foster.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to appoint Carla Shriver as the second at-large committee member for the 1 cent oversight committee.
Okay, now we got all that done. We'll move on to citizen comments and special presentations. No scheduled appearances. So citizen comments. If you have joined the meeting by video or audio and wish to speak, please hit the raise your hand button. Excuse me. If you have joined by video and are connected to audio by phone, please press 9 to raise your hand, or *9 to raise your hand. You'll be allowed to speak after City Clerk unmutes you and has given you the okay. Remember, you will still only be allowed 3 minutes. So you got anybody waving at you?
Ken Hamco?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to bring up something that I talked about at one of the last meetings, I guess. The lighting that was installed up and down Adams Street on each one of the buildings. They're like overhead lighting. And I was told not too long ago that that actually the city installed them some years ago. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I did notice that all of those lights on almost every one of the buildings are either out or switched off or not illuminated. And I was wondering how we could go about finding out how we can get those lit back up so Adams Street looks like it's open and live once this pandemic is over, that is. So that's my input anyways.
Oh,
Forrest, would you answer that as far as who put those lights up? I know that was clear back when they did that Adams Street renovation, correct?
Yeah, good evening, council, mayor. So that was when they did the renovations. There is not, to our knowledge, and I've discussed this with Mr. Vance in the past, there is no agreement that the city is responsible for those lights, which are all located on private buildings. We've been asked about that a number of times in the past year. And, you know, I get that they were part of that, but everybody was part of that project at the time. The business owners, the chamber, the Urban Renewal Authority, and the city were all part of the development. But I honestly, there are no agreements that we have seen or can find that, you know, cedes the maintenance of those lights that are on private buildings to the city's maintenance.
Would there be any way that we could give the building owners the choice of the city changing out the light bulbs and billing or changing them themselves?
Well, honestly, Counselor, where do we draw the line on whose lights we're going to change and bill? I mean, as far as our limited public works staff, that's just another burden for them to have to do that honestly, yeah. So then you've got somebody on Washington Street or, in the downtown area. I mean, I don't know. I think that it's not for you as a council to decide, but I think that the labor requirements and us being, responsible for maintaining lighting on private buildings seems to be a bit of a stretch.
I don't think that we should be responsible for
What
it. Just
about
making an
maybe
offer.
just, what about maybe a friendly letter? If we have those people's names, maybe we can do that.
Council, I don't mean to step in here, but we get kind of complaints at times if Public Works goes in and we step on private enterprise and do things that private enterprise could do. By what you're discussing right now is actually taking away business for handymans or any sign service. And it does become really difficult to draw the line. Are we going to just do the buildings on Adams, or are we going to do any commercial building and at anything that's exterior? Do we wind up going inside and doing interior lighting if that's what they request? I'm not real sure that's something that council really wants to pursue.
What about
I do agree.
what about if it is an issue? What about just maybe a small article in the paper that says, "Hey, look, these lights are out. If you own them." I'm not sure if that would be something that could be done or if that's still out of line. What do you think?
Kind of telling people with private property that they have to maintain their lights. I mean, we don't have a code basis to do that. Signs, we have a sign code, awnings, things like that, we can regulate, but I respect Mr. Hemko's, discussion of what it'd make it look like, but it does really seem to me like it's the business owners, responsibility at this time. And well, we haven't had any substantial financial discussions regarding the city's future here. I have indicated to council that, we have already administratively cut our 2020 budget down to the bare bones. So, one, I don't think we can do it. And putting a letter out that tells the private business owners that they need to light their buildings. Once again, if there were some agreements at development time or something that we had to stand on, that might be worth doing, but I'm not sure we can.
I think if we have an ordinance already for awnings and signs, maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't understand why we can't have an ordinance for lights. And I also get the argument of, what street do we stop on? But right now, Adams Street is our main attraction, and it's looking kind of sorry.
Well,
so I'd like to.
Yeah, sorry. In that regards, if you all, as a council, would like to instruct staff to create we do have a downtown business, commercial business zone. And if you wanted us to create an ordinance for the council review that created some kind of regulatory basis for that, staff would be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Well, I'll put my 2 bits in here, guys. I understand the concern, and I appreciate Ken asking that. And being that it's, like Rob said, it is not, where do you draw the line on that? It's like for me, and I know I'm not in city limits, but when we replace lighting out at Wilbur Ellis, it's up to me. I hire the electrician or I rent the equipment to do it. And as a responsible business owner, I mean, people, and they probably aren't there at night, so they don't realize that they're all shut off or the lights are burned out. So, I mean, a friendly reminder, I could understand that, but I agree with the fact of it comes to a point where how far do you want to push the issue? Respectfully, that's their business. They should be taking care of that, as Rob said, but I don't think it's up to us to replace them. But see, maybe they just have a switch shut off, but it wouldn't hurt to ask. So that's my opinion.
And also, you know, just and Ken bringing that up and us having the discussion, going down on record, definitely also just kind of puts the word out, and hopefully, you know, the word will get out and people will just spread that word amongst each other, and hopefully things will change.
I do like the idea of asking first. I just want the word first in there.
I agree.
Hey,
Yeah. In fact, I'd be happy to meet with Ken. This is not something we're actually deciding tonight, but I'd be glad to meet with him and Martha or anybody else that's interested, just to discuss the issue and bring some ideas back to council. I think that's what probably needs to be done, and not by me, but initiated probably by Ken, if you're still listening. So that would be something for the future to present at our next meeting, probably. But just, we can't do anything based on citizen comments at this point, anyhow.
If I could interject one more thing here, because, you know, I love to. You know, I did talk to council about, you know, the DCI initiative, and we've had further discussions with them about, you know, some of this downtown initiative stuff. And we are actually, they pushed the conference out and everything. So that is going to continue, which is good. And I think that this might be a DCI topic and also a chamber topic of how to get, you know, a cohesive front from the businesses downtown. So, you know, that may take a little longer to develop this, but I do think, you know, part of this is streetscaping. You know, when I was part of History Wyoming's downtown program, you know, we did stuff like that with communities. And I think that the DCI initiative, that's a really good point to bring up about how we look, what it looks like. You know, when that project was done downtown on Adams Street, almost every building had an awning. And, you know, some of the awnings are gone now, but that was part of the cohesive streetscape that was designed by some really nice urban planners. So I think that that really could be part of the DCI effort as well.
I think you make a good point about the chamber too. And of course, Ken is connected there. So that's probably a good next step or suggestion, at least.
I'd like to qualify what I said too with I do believe that compassion needs to be at the root of what we do. And right now, those businesses are hurting. So while I am absolutely in agreement with those lights need to be working one way or the other, and I'm in agreement with the fact that it probably needs to be up to the business owner. Maybe, you know, slapping them with that right now is not a good idea. So yes, I want the lights on, and yes, I agree that the business owner should be responsible, but right now, out of compassion, you know, their businesses are struggling. So let's let people get on their feet a little bit. And we'll get there. We'll be out of this.
Amen.
One day soon.
Ken, thank you for bringing that up. Nita, do we have anybody else on? You're muted, Nita.
Not at this time. There is no one else on. Ken does have his hand raised again. Did you want to let him speak again, or?
Yes.
Okay. Ken, you can go ahead and speak one more time.
Oh, thank you. I probably just didn't disconnect it, but I listened to the discussion, and obviously I think that after the pandemic, this is something that we should tackle. And the DCI meeting was moved till September or somewhere around there. So it seems like a good fit there. So thank you, Council, for taking a look at that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, well, if we have nobody else, Nita?
No, sir, there's no one else.
Okay. So we'll go to, looks like we go to resolutions. Resolution 2020-2, Monte Vista watering restrictions for 2020. Who's got that? Nita, you reading that?
No, Rob has that.
Oh.
All right. I'll read it.
Lay
Okay,
it
good
on
evening,
us, Rob.
Council. In front of you tonight is Resolution 20-02. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Monte Vista, Colorado, establishing watering restrictions on sprinkler systems and lawn irrigation. Whereas the City of Monte Vista Municipal Code, Section 10-3-140, sprinkling restrictions, allows City Council to establish restrictions for the use of water for irrigation or sprinkling purposes. And whereas the City Council finds that Resolution number 35-2019 should read water restrictions and also desires said restrictions to be as simple as possible to enact for the residents. And now therefore let it be resolved by the City Council of the City of Monte Vista for the following restrictions. And it goes into detail about the restrictions starting May 3rd, 2020 through October 16th of 2020. All residential and commercial customers that are tapped to the City of Monte Vista's water supply for the purpose of watering lawns and grounds shall be restricted to every other day service. Residences with even number addresses ending in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 shall water on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Wednesdays, and residences odd numbered street addresses ending in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 shall water on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. Watering on such days shall be limited to the hours between 12 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. And this is a change for this year. Sunday will be considered a watering day for all residences during the limited hours mentioned above. The resolution also goes on to give outdoor landscaping shall only be allowed for handheld hoses attached to shutoff nozzle for drip irrigation system or bucket on any day or time for trees, shrubs, planting beds, planters, and gardens. Seeded or sodded lawns shall be exempt from these restrictions for the same time period. For the time period, to establish the lawn, at which time the period shall not exceed 30 days. Council, I don't know if you have any other questions. Our goal is to try to get a 10% reduction in total water pumping demands.
Rob, I do have one question. You mentioned the Sunday thing is the change. Is that really the only change? I'm looking at this. It appears to be other than that would be exactly the same as last year.
It is fairly close to the exact thing. The two changes are the Sunday. Last year you couldn't no one could water on Sundays, and we added it so you could water on Sundays. And then the other change would be that people had to apply to either Forrest or myself for an exemption for new lawns. And this ordinance releases that thing. So if somebody wants to plant a new set of grass in their yard, they don't have to go and try to get an exemption from us.
Okay, sounds good.
Just streamlines it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Rob, just a quick question. If we did a 10% reduction on total water pumping demands, how many gallons is that?
Off the top of my head, I want to say for the summer months, if we do that, it'd be roughly, I think, right around 3 million gallons.
Wow. That's friggin' amazing.
So, and that would be putting our city parks on the same restrictions.
You guys did a good job with that last year. Okay, so we need a motion on this resolution, right?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve resolution number 2020-02 regarding the establishing water restrictions, sprinkler systems, and lawn irrigation.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2020-2, Monte Vista watering restriction for 2020. Is there any more discussion? Nita?
Counselor Foster,
Aye.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Segala,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve resolution 2020-2, Monte Vista watering restrictions for the year 2020.
Thank you, Rob, for doing all that work on that. Thank you. All you guys for doing all that. That is, I think, extremely important, especially right now where we aren't getting any snowpack right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we go to staff proposals and reports. It looks like Forrest, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors. Okay, not a long thing tonight. Just a couple things. I did submit the $1 million grant application to DOLA for the Sky High project. Actually submitted it last Friday, and then there were, you'll love this, technical difficulties. When I did the submission, and the deadline was April 1st, which I assiduously avoided because I don't think that's a good day to put your grant in. So I put it in on last Friday, and when I was doing it, there were some glitches and pulses in their system, and it didn't look like it took the uploads. So when I sent an email to Randy and Christy and said, hey, it's in, but there might be some issues. And Randy got back to me and said on Wednesday, she goes, well, what's the problem? And so we had to use technology. She got to look at my screen as I was trying to upload them again. And then she said she talked to her tech people, and she sent me an email about half an hour later, said just email them to me. So that worked. It's all in. It's good to go. Their technology didn't work as well as it could have. So anyway, so that's done. Been trying to keep you all abreast of our COVID-19 operations. Rob will talk a little bit about that tonight. Overall, we're doing our best to limit contact with the public while still serving them. We're keeping abreast of all of this legislation and all these pieces of information that keep coming out. And, between the members of the management team, we're looking at those things and trying to make sure that we are playing with them. And I think we're, doing a pretty good job. One issue I did want to bring up with you this evening that's related to that is the golf course. So we did close our golf course, and you all are probably aware of that. And we did that partly because, and it's a really optional kind of thing, to be honest with you. There's no clear guidance on that from the state. What I have been able to find over the internet is most public golf courses are closed. Most private ones are open. And I spent some more time with that. And I will tell you that the Alamosa City Council did vote to reopen cattails. I'm not inclined to do that with our course now, and I'll explain to you why. So Cattails has a full-time staff, for other employees, and I asked them to explain, they reopened it, what measures are they taking? And a couple of them were simple. They raised the cups up so that, they're just flush with the green, they're not as deep. And they told people not to handle the flags. But the other differential there that I see is that they have two full-time marshals, if you will, golf marshals, not U.S. marshals, who are out there actively on the course, making sure that people are practicing social distancing and being safe. We don't have that capability with the golf club to do that. And, before Cattails reopened earlier the week, I think it was Sunday, Jake sent me a text and said, all these people want the golf course to open. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But by our order, we closed city facilities. And regardless that's a city facility, we had to close our playgrounds. If you've been to the one across from City Hall, Rob's crew posted some signs there and kids kept playing. So now there's a beautiful yellow tape there. And that the playgrounds was directly by the order of the governor. But my concern with the golf thing is that we can't ensure the stuff's sanitized. We don't have the ability to have marshals on the course. And, what I've seen of people's voluntary adherence to the distancing rules isn't great. And I think you've all seen that if you've been to the grocery store and other places. And, I get it. I get why people want to play golf. I am a kind of golfer, right? And, some citizens aren't happy about that, but we're really, really lucky right now, really lucky, because we have relatively few cases in the valley. I don't think that means we can relax our diligence just yet. The feds pushed the date out to the end of April. And I think we really need to comport with that. The governor just, did that with the schools essentially. And, it's very likely schools won't reopen. It's very likely that the playgrounds won't reopen while our parks are open. But I think, we have limited capabilities in sanitation and such, and that's a concern. And we have limited supplies for our staff, the public works staff, and the police department staff be burned doing sanitizing that is in excess of what we need for daily operations. So unless the council has a huge objection, I am not inclined to reopen the golf course until the end of the governor's order at the very least.
I think for the safety of just the general public, I think that'd probably be a good idea.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that we need to take more serious, and I agree with that it's we need to really just monitor it. So I agree with that. So what Forrest said is I support that.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to, run it by you. We are trying operationally to protect our citizens and our employees, and it's a difficult thing to do. But our walking trails are open, our parks are open, and that's I think the best we can do for right now. But playgrounds are closed for a reason. It's really hard, and there we're protecting children and. The attitude that it's not going to be me that gets sick at this point in time is a stretch. 2 months down the road, hopefully we're all just laughing about it and going, yeah, we're all fine. But I want to be able to ensure that for the public. And that's really all I have for you this evening, unless you all have any questions for me.
I do not.
Me either. Thanks, Forrest.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Nita, I lost my
Public Works.
Public Works is next on your agenda.
Hey,
Rob?
Council, how are you? Forrest had asked me to go ahead and talk a little bit to you about the paperwork as far as our protocols that we installed in back in, what was it, March? So I believe Forrest forwarded you our protocols for the COVID outbreak. We are currently in protocol number 3, which is, I guess the simplest way to put it is just an extreme social distancing for the department. The department usually has a combined start time and a stop time of 7:30 to 5. And with the COVID, we're trying to eliminate people gathering in large groups. So we went ahead and devised, so each of the members of the team have a separate start time and stop time. Therefore, their breaks, their lunches are all different. So we never have any more than 2 people together at any one time, other than actually on the job site. And even those, we're making them go ahead and do 6-foot social distancing if they can get more, better. We are, when they do have to deal with the public, they are wearing protective gear. Right now it's just masks, gloves if they're out and they have anything that could be contaminated. Still trying to do as many of our daily tasks and get things ready for summer as we can. You'll see people out like in the parks. They've been, cleaning leaves up and trying to get ready for the water to get turned on, because the swimming council and everybody still wants green grass and everything. So we're just trying to get that going. With the crews we have, we're not expecting to do any seasonal hires this year. So we're just going to go ahead and utilize the staff that we have to make that happen. And I really kind of open it up to you. If you have any specific questions on our protocols, we have 1 through 4. Protocol 1 would be just normal operations. Protocol 2 was just a simple social distancing. We moved from having our break room meeting out into the bays. And then protocol 3, which is what we're in now, is just another extension of that, trying to create even smaller groups. And that was staggered start and stop times. And protocol 4, hopefully we don't have to get there. But if we do, protocol 4 is literally, there would be 3 people on at any one time in public works 7 days a week, 24-hour coverage. So, and that would be extreme circumstances if we ever implement protocol 4. Questions?
I do not have any questions, Rob. I can tell you that based on all this, and I know a lot of people are watching Facebook and watching what's going on with this, but I see it from the other side. Forrest and I have had a lot of conversations about this as well, but I see it from my company side of it. As big as we are across the United States, it is something that we need to really pay attention to. So I appreciate all the hard work that the crews are doing with limited people and what everybody's done as far as the city goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Well, that's
Thank you, Council.
That's all I see as far as reports and everything. So I guess if counselors have any, we'll do council reports.
Actually, Mayor, I
Yes.
just have one quick thing I needed to go over with council really quickly. Just wanted to let you all know that you guys are scheduled to do the police chief interviews on the 9th. And in order to do the interviews, you will have to go into a meeting. So Bob Gill, our HR director, has set that up. And you'll go into the meeting, you'll do roll call order or call to order, pledge, prayer, roll call, and then you will go into an executive session, and I will send you that agenda with that state statute to go into executive session for the sole purpose of interviewing for police chief. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, that when that meeting starts at 6:30 that night, you'll have to go into meeting and then go motion to go into executive session for that purpose.
Okay.
Can I ask a question to the clerk really quick?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I think, and you know, my brain's a little hazy here, sorry. We had moved the second meeting of April to a later date. I believe we had done that, Nita, to the
To accommodate CDI.
right.
Yes.
So I'd
It's on
recommend
the 23rd.
right. So I'd recommend to council, unless you have any objections, that we move it back to the 16th, which is a regular date.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Do we need
their police chief
I
interviews
have
are
some
on
stuff
the
going on
9th.
that day.
So Nita said that this interview's on the 9th, correct, Nita?
That is correct. And then the next council meeting will be on the 16th.
So we need to have the motion to move the council meeting from the 23rd back to the 16th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we were talking over each other, so if somebody made the motion, we need to hear it again. Okay. Victor, Gary, somebody, I thought you were trying to make a motion.
No, I'll be glad to do that. I move that we move the adjusted council meeting of the 23rd back to April 16th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to move the council meeting from April 23rd back to April 16th. Is there any more discussion?
I may have some conflicts with that date, but I will let you know.
Okay. Nita?
Counselor Segola?
Aye.
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Foster?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to move the city council meeting from April 23rd back to April 16th.
Thanks for catching that, Forrest. I forgot about that.
Well, you know, my brain had some help. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have council reports. Martha?
I have been watching a lot. We've been getting a lot of reports. I dinged your text today with several things, and so here we go. Rio Grande County in the state of Colorado at the moment is scoring an A- as far as social distancing and adhering to the stay-at-home order. Rio Grande County, however, has a D.
Right.
We have a D. We can do better than that. Now, this graph, this information is being collected and collated by a company called Unicast. They're out of New York. They're a subsidiary of Unicast US. Unicast was in the early 20-teens. They've been in business since then. And they use mobile devices. They harness, I was just reading it, location data, map data, strategic intelligence. And they usually do this to show what sort of businesses will work where. But now they're doing it to see how well we're doing as far as social distancing and stay at home. Rio Grande County, including Monte Vista, is not doing really well. I did some other research and found out that the Czech Republic, as far as the worldwide numbers that are being reported, and I don't have my data in front of me, but they do have better numbers than most everywhere in the United States. And they have made it mandatory that you wear a face mask. The face mask does not keep the virus from entering, but it does keep the virus from exiting. So it's basically a country that has decided on their slogan is, you protect me, I protect you. So if I'm wearing a face mask is not protecting me, but it's protecting everyone around me. And they've made that mandatory. I think these are things that we need to look at. I mean, these are things that are working in other places. I'm not sure how to enforce it. I don't even know how to enforce the stay-at-home order because I'm watching people up and down First Street. You have no idea. I've wanted to make a poster, "Are you essential?" and go stand on my sidewalk and just ask people, "Are you doing that?" I understand I can't do that. And Adam won't let me, so it's okay. I'm not, that's not a, y'all don't have to worry about me actually doing it, but I really want to. So that's my report. Is I think that we can do better than what we're doing. I think we can do better, and I need some input. Maybe I'm just looking for some input as to how can we do that better.
Well, Martha, me personally, just knowing how hard it is to get masks for just our medical teams and just businesses, period. And I know Larry's and his wife have been making masks for people. I think people, if they want to do that, that it's allowable. I've seen people walking around with masks on, but to make it like everybody needs to do it, I think we'll open up a can of worms that might not be the ones we want to fish with. So, I mean,
honestly,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and honestly, with the way things are going right now, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. And, you know, Governor Polis will more than likely probably take those precautions in the future. I think if it really comes down to it and issue that statewide, which then we would have to adhere to, you know. But I totally get what you're saying, Martha, because man, like even where I work, you know, people are coming in, you know, trying to come in groups even sometimes, and I have to keep people outside the door and say, hey, I can only let one person in at a time, you know. But it's a crazy time that we're living in right now, and I did read a post that said right now we don't know if we're doing enough, but soon enough we'll find out if we didn't do enough, you know. So I'm all about taking precautions and trying to just keep everybody safe. So I totally get you.
I listened to a doctor yesterday morning, and she was saying that when all this is over, if it looks like we did it all for nothing, that's exactly what we want it to look like. So, and I agree. If it looks like we did it all for nothing, then we did exactly what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because nothing bad happened. I understand your concern, Mayor Becker, that people don't take to making things mandatory very well. I don't take to making things mandatory very well. I get that. I understand it. This is way out of my personality and character to even suggest this. But I can voluntarily wear a mask and I'm not protected unless you're wearing one too. That's, you know, I'm doing great protecting other people, but no one's looking out after me. And I think that we have to look out for each other. We've got to pull together as a community. And some people are going to pull together kicking and screaming, but we can make them pull together either way. I just don't know what that would look like.
And I just think that the reality of it is that there's not very many cases around here, so people are not really taking it very serious. You know, I have a cousin in Denver who has been diagnosed with COVID-19. You know, and I can tell you right now that every single person in that house, everybody is isolated themselves. You know, not quarantine themselves because we're not under quarantine, but we're under this isolation of, you know, voluntarily isolating ourselves, which we definitely need to do, because who knows, you know, like 5 turns into 50 and 50 turns into 1,000. This happens that fast, you know, and it's just, it can be kind of spooky, you know, but us as individuals, I think we need to take the precautions to just stay home and be like, you know, I'm just going to stay home. My kids, honestly, my kids go outside to feed the dogs and they come right back in. They don't even think they've left the yard, you know, and it shows, you know, so they're at each other's necks right now, and it's not very pleasant, but hey, you know, we're doing what we need to do, and hopefully other people will eventually, you know, take it more seriously and do what they need to do. So.
Well, you know, years ago, our young men were asked to storm the beaches of Normandy, and we're being told to stay at home. Surely we can do this without screwing it up. I just think that we need to look at these things, and they're unpleasant. And I know it. This is not going to make me popular. And it's not easy to come to you and come in front of you and tell you all this. But we're not even supposed to peak until somewhere between the 7th and the 13th of April. So now is when we can actually make that peak lower, not then. When it gets bad, we can't make it lower then. We can make it lower now. I've stated my case. I'm through. Thank you.
Victor, while you're on there, you got anything you want to add to this?
No, I've kind of expressed my peace of mind, you know. I'm all about protecting myself and protecting others, you know, as to the extent that I'm able to. I will definitely keep, you know, the whole state and the whole world in prayer. It's very hard to control, you know, and I just hope and pray that people will have a sound mind, you know, because God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So I just think we need to be able to keep that sound mind, you know, and not try to get into a crazy panic. But at the same time, we do need to be cautious about how we're perceiving ourselves and what we're doing, like coughing in front of people, you know, like just, I don't know. It's a scary time for people to be in right now. So we just have to hopefully just be courteous to others, and like what Martha said is, you know, watch out for me, I'll watch out for you. So.
Okay. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Martha. Gary, you got some stuff you want to talk about?
No, I probably shouldn't because I'm a statistics guy, and I pay attention to what's going on specifically from the CDC and what they're reporting about the flu virus, which makes Corona look like just a common cold. I don't want to diminish what's going on, but the 38 million to 54 million cases of flu and 24 to 62,000 deaths. But we didn't shut down the economy because of that. But we did for Corona. So I'm with everybody in terms of staying safe and staying out of harm's way and doing what's right. I keep sanitizer around. I keep my social distance, and I'm all in favor of all of this, and no number of deaths is acceptable. But in perspective, the coronavirus is a small blip on the screen compared to the flu virus, and I'm not sure where the action that's necessary to prevent that has ever taken place. It doesn't seem to have made any effect on it, whatever it is we're doing. But we need to keep doing what we're doing, and I agree with that, and I agree with Victor. The panic and the fear needs to subside, and we just need to do what's right without being forced to. And I see a lot of that around. There's a lot of good actions taking place. I'm still out for taking folks out to medical appointments and getting prescriptions filled, that kind of thing, and offering to do whatever is necessary for folks in the neighborhood. Not getting much response on that, but that's okay. I just I believe in statistics, and I believe even more in faith and hope, and I'm believing for this thing to be over with as quickly as it came about. So stay safe, do what's necessary to contain this thing, and stay out of harm's way. Social distancing and everything is a great idea, but and I'm all for encouraging that, but certainly not for enforcing it. So people need to just wise up and do the right thing and lose the fear, but continue to be intelligent. That's really what we need. And with that, I'll look forward to seeing you all virtually again soon.
Thank you, Gary. Larry, you got something?
Well, I do. A couple months ago, which now seems like an eternity, I did attend the Upper Rio Grande Economic Development meeting in Del Norte. That was kind of fun to see what everybody was up to and see what these other communities are doing. The other announcement that I have today is with help of my friend George here. Here we go. All right, George is appropriately done. Say hi, George. Oh,
thank you.
So, yeah, there we go. George is donning one of our new cloth masks. We are making these at the shop. We are distributing them by donation. So if people want to come by or they can order them on the website, I'll have that ready probably for ordering probably tomorrow. I think I got all the kinks worked out today. And people will be able to order them. They can come by and properly distance themselves and pick them up. We are asking for donations, but for those people who can't afford donations, they can get what they need. And Martha's going to help us publicize that, and those will be going out. Those will be available for the public here real soon.
How many are you able to produce, Larry?
Ginger thinks that she can do about 20 a day.
Okay.
So, we could probably, there's a couple other people that we might be able to rope into production. If we need to produce more than that, I think we've got about 20, 30 or so already made up. So, but either way.
Good work, Larry.
Very good work. Thank you.
That's pretty good. Nice plug for an advertisement there, Larry. That was good, though.
Well, we're giving them away, so it's not a whole advertisement. We didn't put our name on it.
Oh, that's all good. So I don't have a whole lot. Just like, I respect Martha and her thoughts, and I will just speak to the community, because I'm quite certain that doing this on Zoom, we're probably going to have a lot of people viewing this, would be my guess. The IT guys could probably let us know that, but just everybody stay safe. Everybody take the precautions that they need. Keep your social distance. Watch out for your neighbor. just be concerned about them. I've checked on 3 or 4 of my neighbors, and it totally shocked them that I even called them just to see how they were doing. But we need to pay attention to some of this. It's probably more than what we really thought. Being an essential business, trying to get product brought in has become a challenge. Truck drivers aren't wanting to cross the state line because one of the states actually sent out a deal and said, if you cross into Colorado, when you get back into our state, you will be quarantined, which there's a loophole to that because they're still part of the essential business, but people went into panic mode. People need to stay calm. People need to use common sense, and people need to communicate more than anything. And as it was put to me once, when this all started, it was like the SpongeBob SquarePants cartoon where he's running around at the bottom of the ocean waving his arms screaming. It's kind of like what happened. But if we keep calm and common sense to it, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, be sure and take care of things at like at my office. I clean it like 3-4 times a day, and I'm pretty much the only one in the office for most of the day because I've got everybody else at home. So just take care of yourselves. And respectfully for Monte Vista, this is a great community. We got to be strong together in this. So be sure we help each other out and take care of each other. Because I know there's elderly folks that are at home. And actually I had an elderly gentleman that's pushing 100 real serious. And he goes, I've lived this long. I really don't think this is going to get me. So with that, that's all I have. If there's anybody else that has anything, I want to thank everybody for doing this. And I apologize I'm glad the IT guys are on to really help us through this. But with that being said, we will adjourn the meeting until April 9th, correct, Unita?
For the police chief interviews,
All
and
right.
your regular scheduled council meeting will be April 16th.
Okay, so we will adjourn to that. So thank you all for being here tonight. Chief, Mike, thank you for being here. Rob, Forrest, and all the council, thank you. And all the people that, if there was anybody else watching, thank you for trying to join us on our IT extravaganza. So
Good deal. Good job.
meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Stay safe, guys.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you, guys.
Bye.
All right, you all have a great evening.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christian.
Hey, Christian, don't leave.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Now,
Keep your distance.
I was kicked about halfway through. My recording is no good. Were you recording, Unita?
Yes.
Okay, and I did look and it showed that you were recording. I thought I'd double check. When you get that video, when you close out this meeting, it's going to pop up, download those 2 files. Would you send me the video? You can send it through Gmail and it will automatically make a drive file, upload to that and send me the link.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Have a good night.
All right, you as well.